All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Sunil Verma. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address Smart India Hackathon this evening. New guidelines for opening up more activities in areas outside containment zones come into force today. Government extends ban on international flights till 31st of August. Fifth phase of Vande Bharat mission begins today to repatriate Indians from 23 countries. And Eid-ul-Azha being celebrated across the country today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the Smart India Hackathon of All India Council for Technical Education at 4:30 p.m. today. He will also interact with students on the occasion. Human Resource Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank said that the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2020 software will be held till 3rd of August.
इस संस्करण का जो हम हैकाथन कर रहे हैं इसमें 4.5 लाख से भी अधिक छात्र सहभागी हुए हैं। ये जो हैकाथन है ये राज्य सरकारों की समस्याएं, ये केंद्र सरकार के विभागों की समस्याएं और उद्योग जगत की जो समस्याएं या उनको क्या आइडिया चाहिए, हमारे प्रतिभाशाली छात्र इस बात को सुनिश्चित कर रहे हैं कि जो भी समस्याएं बिखरी हैं या उनके मस्तिष्क में जो भी नया आइडिया आ रहा है, स्मार्ट इंडिया हैकाथन के माध्यम से उन समस्याओं का समाधान करेंगे।
Our correspondent reports that this is the 4th edition of the hackathon organized by HRD Ministry, and it has proved to be extremely successful in promoting out-of-the-box thinking in young minds.
Smart India Hackathon is a nationwide initiative to provide students with a platform to solve some of the pressing problems we face in our daily lives. The first edition of Smart India Hackathon 2017 saw participation of 42,000 students, which increased to 1 lakh in 2018 and to 2 lakh in 2019. The first round of Smart India Hackathon 2020 saw participation of more than 4 lakh 50,000 students. The grand finale will be organized online by connecting all the participants throughout the nation together over a specially built advanced platform. Over 10,000 students will compete to solve 243 problem statements from 37 central government departments, 17 state governments and 20 industries. With Dipendra Kumar, Anand Chaturvedi, AIR News, Delhi.
On the occasion, the Prime Minister will also speak on the new National Education Policy 2020. Recently, the Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi approved the National Education Policy 2020, making way for large-scale transformational reforms in both schools and higher education sectors. This new policy will replace the 34-year-old National Policy on Education 1986. The new guidelines for opening up of more activities in areas outside the containment zones will come into effect from today. The process of phased reopening of activities has been extended further in Unlock 3. The new guidelines issued by the Home Ministry on Wednesday are based on the feedback received from states and UTs and extensive consultations held with related central ministries and departments. A report.
Restrictions on movement of individuals during night have been removed. Yoga institutes and gymnasiums will be allowed to open from 5th of August. Independence Day functions will be allowed with social distancing and by following other health protocols. Schools, colleges and coaching institutions will remain closed till 31st of August. International air travel of passengers has been permitted in a limited manner under the Vande Bharat mission. Further opening up will take place in a calibrated manner. All activities except metro rail, cinema halls, swimming pools, entertainment parks, theatres, bars shall be permitted outside containment zones. Social, political, sports, entertainment, academic, cultural, religious functions and other large congregations will not be permitted. With Anand Chaturvedi, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Activities in the containment zones shall be monitored strictly by state and UT authorities, and the guidelines relating to containment measure in these zones shall be strictly implemented. Health Ministry will monitor the proper delineation of containment zones and implementation of the containment measures. States and UTs, based on their assessment of the situation, may prohibit certain activities outside the containment zones or impose such restrictions as deemed necessary. However, there shall be no restriction on interstate and intrastate movement of persons and goods.
The government has extended ban on international flights till 31st of August amid the coronavirus pandemic. However, this restriction will not be applicable for international all-cargo operations and flights specifically approved by the DGCA. India had first suspended international flights on March 22nd, just before the national lockdown was announced. As part of allowing gradual movement of passenger traffic amid the pandemic situation, transport bubble agreements have been signed with the US, France and Germany. Such bilateral agreements allow operation of flights between the two countries subject to a set of regulations. International flight services to and from India remain suspended since March 23rd due to the pandemic. The fifth phase of the Vande Bharat mission begins today to rescue Indians stranded abroad. This phase will continue till 31st of August 2020. In an interview to DD News, Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Puri said that under various phases of Vande Bharat mission, more than 8,45,000 Indians have been repatriated. He said up to 1,200 flights are likely to be added in phase 5 of Vande Bharat mission. In total, Air India and Air India Express have airlifted 2,67,436 stranded passengers, and other charters have brought home 4,86,811 stranded passengers between 6th of May and 30th of July this year. These flights will come from Gulf countries, the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, France, Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, China, Israel, Ukraine and Kyrgyzstan. The flights will cater to 21 different airports across India and repatriate an estimated 130,000 Indians stranded abroad.
Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said, India has achieved the milestone of more than 10 lakh recoveries, which has taken the recovery rate to 64.54%. Speaking during the 19th meeting of the high-level group of ministers on COVID-19 in New Delhi yesterday, he said, this shows that the active cases under medical supervision are only 33.27% or approximately one-third of total positive cases. The minister said India's case fatality rate is also progressively reducing and currently stands at 2.18%, one of the lowest globally. On the severity of cases found in the country, Dr. Harshvardhan stated that out of the total active cases, only 0.28% patients are on ventilators, 1.61% patients needed ICU support, and 2.32% are on oxygen support. He said through a network of the 1,331 labs, India has conducted a record of over 6,42,000 tests in the last 24 hours. This has taken the cumulative tests to more than 1,88 lakh. The government has taken several steps to provide affordable and quality healthcare to the people and build a robust healthcare infrastructure in the country during the last 6 years. These initiatives played an important role in containing the COVID-19 pandemic. Exclusively speaking with AIR News, CEO of Ayushman Bharat scheme, Dr. Indu Bhushan said, India has shown accelerated direction to the health facilities in last 6 years and public health infrastructure has been strengthened in these years.
India, of course, has been strengthening its health infrastructure. Last 6 years have shown accelerated direction. So there was an investment in primary care through announcement of Ayushman Bharat, where more than 150,000 health and wellness centers are being created. At the same time, the public health infrastructure is being strengthened, including creating labs at district levels for testing of various health conditions. At the same time, there is a strengthening of human resources. Medical colleges are being opened in almost every district, and that is going to be strengthening both the primary, secondary and tertiary care level facilities in the country. At the same time, there has been a promotion of private investment in healthcare as well, and that is also going to be helping in improving the access to health services.
The recovery rate of COVID patients in Delhi has further improved to 89.18%. It continues to be the state with the highest recovery percentage in the country. The city recorded recovery of 1,206 patients in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of recovered patients till date to 1,20,930. With increased testing, the city has achieved the remarkable mark of conducting 54,357 corona tests per million of its population. A total of 1,195 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in the national capital during the last 24 hours. With this, the total number of COVID cases in the city has reached 1,35,598. Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal has rejected the Delhi government's decision to allow hotels and weekly markets under Unlock 3. An official said the matter was discussed with Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, and it was agreed that while there has been improvement in the situation, the pandemic threat is still far from over. Therefore, a cautious and more conservative approach is required. The proposal to allow Rehdi Patriwalas to operate for longer hours from today has been approved. However, the proposals regarding opening of hotels and hospitality services and opening of weekly bazaars have been deferred for the time being. It will be reviewed by the State Disaster Management Authority later.
Protection is the key word to prevent corona infection, and for that, it is very important to wear a mask at all times. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also appealed to the people to wear masks and follow physical distance. Following the Prime Minister's appeal, a public awareness campaign called Ek Mask Anek Zindagi, meaning one mask, many lives, will be conducted from today till the August 15th in many districts of Madhya Pradesh. A report.
During this campaign, people will be informed about measures to prevent COVID-19 infection. The municipal corporation will also run a public awareness chariot in the city on the same theme. Khandwa Municipal Commissioner Himanshu Bhatt said that masks are the simplest and most effective means to prevent corona infection.
कोरोना फैलने का सबसे बड़ा कारण यही है कि हम लोग मास्क पहने बिना इधर उधर बास्केट में जाते हैं, उससे जो पार्टिकल्स निकलते हैं हम लोग के छींकने से या खांसी करने से, वो दूसरे व्यक्ति को भी संक्रमित कर देते हैं। इस अभियान में हम लोग सब लोगों से निवेदन करते हैं, हमारी समाज सेवी संस्थाओं से, उद्योगपतियों से, आम जनता से कि वे मास्क दान में दें।
The mask bank will also be established under the Ek Mask Anek Zindagi campaign. In this mask bank, masks will be collected from donors and distributed free of cost to the needy people. With Hiralal Longre from Khandwa, Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
The 4-day monsoon session of Bihar Assembly beginning August 3rd has been curtailed to single day in view of corona pandemic. The decision was taken at an all-party meeting chaired by Assembly Speaker Vijay Kumar Chaudhary. Earlier the session was scheduled from August 3rd to 6th. This session will be the last before the Assembly elections in the state. For the first time, the session will not be held in the Assembly building. This time it will be held in another building outside Assembly in view of corona threat. Meanwhile, positive cases in Bihar have mounted to 50,987 with reporting of 2,986 fresh cases.
In Gujarat, the number of COVID-19 cases crossed 61,000 mark yesterday. A total of 1,153 fresh cases were reported in the state in the last 24 hours. According to State Health Department, 23 COVID-19 patients lost their lives yesterday, taking the death toll to 2,441. Our correspondent reports that the number of recovered patients in the state has gone up to 44,907. Here is a report.
Surat district continues to report highest number of COVID-19 cases in the state. Yesterday, the district reported 289 cases for COVID-19, but the district is also on the top in terms of recovery. Out of the total 833 patients who recovered yesterday and got discharged from different hospitals, 189 were from Surat district alone. With the average of 700 to 800 patients getting discharged on daily basis throughout the state, recovery rate now stands at 73.9%. State is continuously ramping up its daily testing. As many as 26,000 samples were tested in a single day yesterday. Aparna Khun, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Maharashtra reported 10,320 new cases, taking the COVID-19 tally to 4,22,118. 265 fresh deaths have taken the toll to 14,994. As many as 7,543 patients were discharged from hospitals yesterday after they recovered from the viral infection. More from our correspondent.
The State Health Department said that a total of 256,158 COVID-19 patients have been discharged so far in Maharashtra. The recovery rate in the state is now 60.68%, while the fatality rate is 3.55%. There are 1,50,966 active cases in the state, while the number of people tested so far stood at 21,30,098. The COVID-19 tally in Mumbai increased to 1,14,287 with the addition of 1,100 new cases, while the death toll rose to 6,350 with 53 more patients succumbing to the infection. According to BMC, so far 87,074 patients out of the total 1,14,287 have recovered from the disease. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
Karnataka reported 5,483 new COVID-19 cases yesterday. Among them, 2,220 reported from the Bengaluru city. The total active cases in the state now stands at 71,968. More from our correspondent.
There are 3,130 people who recovered from various hospitals in the state, and the total number of recovered patients has gone up to 49,788. The recovery rate stands at 40.14%. Karnataka Medical Education Minister Dr. K. Sudhakar, in a tweet, has again warned of stringent action against the private hospitals which do not cooperate with Arogya Mitras deployed by Swarna Arogya Suraksha Trust. Arogya Mitras facilitate treatment of COVID patients and update dashboard with information on bed availability in various hospitals. R. Murthy, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In Tamil Nadu, Ayurveda formulations have been made a part of the clinical management practice against COVID-19. They are being promoted as the means of boosting immunity to prevent the infection. Meanwhile, the total COVID-19 infection in the state has crossed 2,45,000 with more than 5,800 new cases reported yesterday. More from our correspondent.
Complementary to the allopathic system, Ayush practices are being widely used in the battle against the COVID-19 pandemic. In Tamil Nadu, the Siddha formulation Kabasura Kudineer and the homeopathic medication Arsenicum album 30 have a huge following as they are known as immunity boosters. They are being distributed freely to the public and the field workers. A statement by the Health Department yesterday says Ayurveda medicines can also be availed in government health facilities. They include popular formulations like Indukandam Kashayam and Agastya Rasayanam to enhance immunity. While allopathy remains the mainstay in the clinical management, Ayush also plays a vital role. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you views of leading medical experts on COVID-19. Dr. Nandakumar, Professor of Psychiatry, AIIMS, suggested to people to stay at home, spend time with family members and practice yoga.
इमोशनल इम्यूनिटी को बढ़ाने के लिए या रिजिलियंस पैदा करने के लिए दो तीन चीजें बहुत जरूरी है. जैसे फिजिकल इम्यूनिटी के लिए आयुष का क्वाथा पीते हैं, हल्दी, दूध. इमोशनल इम्यूनिटी के लिए पहला ये कि लोगों से बात करें, सोशल कनेक्टेडनेस को बनाए रखें. दूसरा, अगर हो सके तो प्राणायाम करें, सांस की एक्सरसाइज करें, हम लोग जो बोलते हैं ब्रीथिंग एक्सरसाइज, वो करें. इससे भी इम्यूनिटी बढ़ती है, इससे मन स्थिर होता है. तीसरा, जितना भी आप फिजिकल एक्टिविटी बढ़ाएंगे अपने घर के अंदर, जैसे घर के अंदर बहुत सारे काम होते हैं, लोग मास्क पहन के थोड़ा बाहर भी घूमने जाते हैं, थोड़ा सा वॉक कर लें, बाहर निकल लें, एक फिजिकल डिस्टेंस को मेंटेन करते हुए लोगों से बात कर लें. इन सारी चीजों से इमोशनल इम्यूनिटी बढ़ती है.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address Smart India Hackathon this evening. New guidelines for opening up more activities in areas outside containment zones come into force today. Government extends ban on international flights till 31st of August. Fifth phase of Vande Bharat mission begins today to repatriate Indians from 23 countries. And Eid ul-Azha being celebrated across the country. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
In Uttar Pradesh, Ayodhya is getting ready for Bhumi Pujan or laying the foundation stone for construction of the Ram Temple. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will perform Bhumi Pujan on August the 5th. Union Minister for Tourism and Culture Prahlad Singh Patel visited Ayodhya yesterday to take stock of the preparations. More from our correspondent.
Volunteers of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia Awadh University have been given the task for special decoration of more than 25 locations of Ayodhya, including Ram Janmabhoomi premises and Ram Ki Padi. Around 200 students, experts in artwork, are making Rangoli and Deepmala series of earthen lamps at these locations. Professor Manoj Dikshit of Awadh University told AIR,
ये एक बहुत विशिष्ट प्रयास है और इसमें जिम्मेदारियां सभी लोगों को वितरित की गई हैं। विश्वविद्यालय की जिम्मेदारी दो चीजों को लेकर आई है। एक तो कि विभिन्न स्थानों पर रंगोलियों का निर्माण करना और खासतौर से उस मार्ग पर और उस स्थान पर करना जहां पर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का आगमन होना है। और दूसरा, विभिन्न स्थानों पर अभी तक लगभग 25 स्थान प्रारंभ में चयनित हुए थे। अब कुछ स्थान और भी बढ़े हैं, विशेष रूप से राम की पैड़ी भी बढ़ी है। इन स्थान पर हमको दीपोत्सव आयोजित करना है। स्वास्थ्य संबंधी सारी गाइडलाइंस को देखते हुए इसका आयोजन किया जाना है।
The saga of Ramayana will be visible through these rangolis, and guidelines of social distancing are being followed in this work. With Rajen Soni in Ayodhya, this is Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Jammu and Kashmir, the government has been relentlessly reaching out to the people and has accordingly stepped up the developmental initiatives enormously in various areas of the Union Territory. Recently, Lieutenant Governor Girish Chandra Murmu approved a program for 100% macadamization of all roads in Jammu and Kashmir, including 11,000 kilometers of fair weather roads. In the meantime, the central government has also left no stone unturned to reach out to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Under the instructions of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, 36 central ministers visited various parts in Jammu and Kashmir to oversee the developmental initiatives in the Union Territory. More from our correspondent.
The visit was aimed to give boost to developmental works and to ensure the timely implementation and execution of various centrally sponsored schemes in the region. The central ministers also assessed the developmental initiatives undertaken by the UT administration on ground. They also interacted with the local population to get the first-hand information on developmental front like roads, healthcare facilities, electricity, functioning of academic institutions in the Union Territory. The central ministers also laid foundation stones of various projects so that the benefits of various central sponsored schemes percolate across the Union Territory at grassroots levels. This is Sunil Kohl, AR News from Srinagar.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has congratulated the telecom industry for completing 25 years of mobile telephony in the country. Department of Telecommunications, DOT, and the Cellular Operators Association of India, COAI, organized a special online event, Desh Ki Digital Udan, to commemorate the event. In his letter, the Prime Minister appreciated the contribution made by DOT, telecom companies, and COAI in the growth of the telecom sector. The government is looking to have a distinct identity for Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan by developing a logo based on creative and innovative inputs from the citizens of the country. MyGov.in platform has started the Atmanirbhar Bharat logo design contest on its website, where Indian citizens can submit their entries without any hassle through online medium. The last date of submission of entries is 5th of August 2020 till 11:45 p.m.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that he expects a free and fair probe into the actor Sushant Singh Rajput's death case to ensure the truth comes out. He was speaking at the Vision Maharashtra event organized by a Marathi news channel in Mumbai. He said that talent should get scope in the film industry. Meanwhile, amid growing demand for a CBI probe into the actor's death, Maharashtra Minister Jayant Patil said the Mumbai police are investigating the Sushant Singh Rajput suicide case, and it is expected they will arrive at a conclusion soon. On the other hand, actor Shekhar Suman met Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari yesterday to demand a CBI inquiry into the matter. The festival of sacrifice, Eid-ul-Azha or Bakrid, is being celebrated with religious fervour and due reverence across the country today. There will be no mass congregation prayers in Eidgahs and grand mosques in most of the places in view of the coronavirus pandemic. The faithfuls will offer Eid prayers in local mosques and in their homes in compliance with lockdown norms and guidelines issued to contain COVID-19. Eid-ul-Azha is celebrated to commemorate the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his only son in obedience of God's command. In Kerala, Eid-ul-Azha was celebrated yesterday. President Ramnath Kovind and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu have greeted the people on the occasion of Eid-ul-Azha. In his message, Mr. Kovind said, Eid-ul-Azha symbolizes the spirit of sacrifice and amity, which inspires people to work for the well-being of one and all.
In a major development and push to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of achieving universalization of membership of the International Solar Alliance, ISA, the requisite number of member countries has given the go-ahead. After ratification to the amendment of the ISA framework, all the member states of the United Nations will now be able to join the International Solar Alliance, including those countries which are beyond the tropics. India has received strong bipartisan support from members of the US Congress against the recent Chinese military aggression in Ladakh. In the last few weeks, dozens of lawmakers across the aisle, both on the floor of the House of Representatives and the Senate and outside the Capitol, have praised India's standing strong against the Chinese efforts to grab Indian territories. Addressing US House of Representatives, Congressman Frank Pallone, one of the senior-most Democratic lawmakers, asked China to end its military aggression. Other lawmakers also condemned the recent Chinese aggression along the LAC in Ladakh region. At a time when there is a bitter political divide in Washington, D.C., influential lawmakers from both the GOP and Democratic Party have been supporting India's stand against China. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam has announced that the government will postpone highly anticipated legislative elections by 1 year, citing a worsening coronavirus outbreak in the semi-autonomous Chinese city. The Hong Kong government is invoking an emergency ordinance in delaying the elections. Lam said the government has the support of the Chinese government in making the decision to hold the elections on September 5th, 2021.
Now let us take a look at today's weather forecast. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature in Jammu was 25 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees Celsius. The city will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature was 18 degrees, while the maximum will be 32 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Ladakh will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 14 and 27 degrees Celsius. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 19 and 39 degrees Celsius. It will experience mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Muzaffarabad, there will be partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Chandigarh will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The national capital Delhi may have thunderstorm with rain tomorrow. The minimum temperature was recorded 27 degrees Celsius and maximum will be 34 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 24 and 31 degrees Celsius. In Hyderabad, the minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 34 degrees. Rain or thunder showers would occur in Bhopal towards evening or night. Guwahati will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Under the headline, at 650,000, India closes in on 1 million daily tests target. Hindustan Times reports on positivity rate of COVID crisis declining as strategy to test, trace and treat is scaled up in the country. A front page headline in the Economic Times notes the Prime Minister focusing on digital connectivity, calling for focus on telecom self-reliance and security. Online open 3.7 lakh get domicile in a month. 78% of them in Jammu, reports the Indian Express. The Times of India reports about IMD forecast, hinting at heavy September rainfall under the headline, monsoon 10% deficient in July, driest in 5 years. In a landmark move to protect independent journalism, Australia to make Facebook, Google pay for news, writes Financial Express. Quoting DGCA, the Tribune writes, no international flights till August 31st. And finally, foreign university campuses welcome Education Policy 2020, calling it a game-changing initiative, writes the Asian Age.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address Smart India Hackathon this evening. New guidelines for opening up more activities in areas outside containment zones come into force today. Government extends ban on international flights till 31st of August. Fifth phase of Vande Bharat mission begins today to repatriate Indians from 23 countries, and Eid-ul-Azha being celebrated across the country today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.